أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وأطهار المرسلين، شفيع المذنبين وحبيب رب العالمين، محمد صلوات ربي وصلاته وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وصحبه الطيبين الطاهرين. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the most merciful, all praise is due to Allah. We bear witness that no one is worthy of worship but Allah, and we bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is indeed his final messenger. The best of speech is the book of Allah, and the best of guidance is the guidance of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I begin by greeting my brothers and sisters saying, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair for the invitation, and Jazakumullah khair all for being here this evening. I am reminded of an incident that took place. It said that a scholar was once invited to give a speech at the locality. And when it was time for the event, the number of people who showed up for the event wasn't very numerous. And the organizers were a bit disappointed by the number of people who showed up. It wasn't a big number. And they say that the man that was about to give that speech was a wise man. And he noticed the disappointment in the faces of the organizers. So he said to them, do not be disappointed by your numbers. We are not looking for numbers amongst our faithful. We are looking for faith amongst our numbers. Then we're not looking for numbers amongst our faithful. We are looking for faith amongst our numbers. And subhanAllah, throughout history, change never took place because the majority wanted change. Always change. Be it secular, be it religious in the form of revolution. Every change that took place not because the majority wanted it, but because there was a committed minority behind it. It is the committed minority that makes the difference, not the big majority. And that is why throughout the Quran, every time Allah speaks about the kathra of big numbers, it's always what we call mazmuma, rebuked. أكثر الناس لا يشكرون. Majority of people are ungrateful. They're not appreciative. The majority of people do not believe. Majority of people associate others with Allah. Majority of people have evil thoughts, and so forth. And that is why one time they said that Umar ibn Khattab was going around the Kaaba when he heard a Bedouin begging Allah, Allahumma ij'alni min al-aqalliyin. Oh Allah, make me from amongst the minority. So Umar ibn Khattab got a hold of him and he said, Wayhaq, wa man al-aqalliyun? So who is this minority that you want to belong to? And the man said, Umar, have you not recited the book of Allah? In it Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشَّكُورِ. And a small minority from amongst my servants are those who are truly grateful. So that is the minority that I want to belong to. And this committed minority is not only the minority that just shows up in events. That is an indication of commitment, but that is not where it ends. A committed minority means that this is a minority or a community that is actually aware of the challenges of the times. Many times people live and they go by life, they really don't know what's going on. And that's why they say there are three kinds of people. Things that make things happen, or people who make things happen, and then there are people who see things happen, and then there are people who ask, what happened? And that happened to be the majority of people. There are the onlookers who do nothing, and then they ask, oh my God, what happened? But it was the committed small minority that was making things happen. That committed minority is a very aware minority. They know what is going on. They understand the challenges, and they're also very concerned, and they're looking for solutions. Understanding the challenges, that is big, especially where we are, especially when we are living, to understand what these challenges are. Our scholars describe this as the ability to prioritize. Things are important, but then there are other things that are more important. And it was said that Sayyidina Ali ibn Abi Talib used to say, ليس الفقيه من يعرف الخير من الشر ولكن الفقيه من يعرف خير الخيرين وشر الشرين. He said, truly wisdom is not about being able to distinguish wrong from right, or good from bad, or evil from truth. He said that is not wisdom. He said truly wisdom is about knowing the worst of two evils and knowing the best of two goods. He said that is wisdom. So it's not about seeing all the evil or all the good that we want to attain, but it is about an issue of priority. What is really important at this point? And they say that, subhanAllah, people mess up their priorities when we mess up in our goals and our needs. When people are not able to distinguish what are the goals and what are the means, they become very stagnant. And usually what happens is that the goals become the means. The goal of this community is to build a masjid. But in Islam, the masjid itself was never a goal. To have a masjid in itself was not an innate, intrinsic reason why we want to build a skeleton. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ spoke that towards the end of time, people are going to build the masajid. And he said, describing these masajid, he said, فِيهِ رِجَالٌ لَيْسُوا بِرِجَالٍ وَلَكِنْ أَشْبَهُ رِجَالٍ. He said, in it are going to be men. Nay, they are not men, they are the mimicry of men. So if you go to the masajid, he said, you won't even find one humble servant to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is why Abu Hayyan used to say, لَيْسَ كُلُّ مَنْ كَانَتْ عِنْدَهُ لَحْيَ أَصْبَحَ رَجُلًا. Not everybody that grows a beard becomes a man. So manhood is something that you attain. That makes you male. Having facial hair only makes you male. But what happens is when people mix goals with means, the minute we make our means, our goals, we become very stagnant. We go nowhere. The goal is to build a masjid. Okay, we build a masjid. And then what? The goal is to have this. We have it. And then what? And that is why, subhanAllah, that is where the ideas of priorities come in. Recognizing what are the challenges, especially in the times that we're living in. In the month of April alone, over 57 people were killed in the US, mostly due to domestic violence. People having problems with their wives, with their husbands, people unable to find a job, unable to sustain a job, not able to make ends meet. They go out and they start shooting people. This morning, and I did not have much time to really look into the case, but in Maryland, there was a murder-suicide case that is just taking place. In Los Angeles, where I came from,